Hello, thank you for joining me again. So I've been working on this painting most of the day. I started it yesterday in acrylics and did last couple layers in acrylics early this afternoon. Now it's 9 o'clock in the evening, and I can just about list what needs to be done. First, the biggest one, sky, and then the foreground, which of course not much happening down here. Keep this real minimum. Keep it real minimal. And then the scoreboard area, and then just little touch up here and there. The painting is being done for a company called James Scott Farron, and that's his logo, or not his logo, that's the name on his building. And I've taken the liberty of making that sign actually bigger than it actually is, of course, because I want it to be legible. So let's talk about the sky. This painting, first of all, overall, it would have to be characterized as my tighter style. By the way, let me make sure that the sound here is okay. Good, we're good. It's a tighter. Starts out very loose, of course, and this is often the case with commissions. They get tight because I'm inclined to think that that's what a client wants. If you go very abstract, it's like, anyway, people can argue with it. But if you go pretty realistic, I feel like people generally can't complain too much. Unfortunately, that's part of the reality of doing commissions, I feel. Be that as it may, it's of course well within the range of my normal style. So they're familiar with my normal style, so I think they'll like it. But it is a little bit on the tighter. This building had to get a lot of attention because it's such a complicated structure, as you can see. And even though I tried to paint it all as loosely as I could, I had to paint it at the same time, realistically. Now, this part of the building right here, I truncated. This is supposed to be wider, but this is fairly accurate, and I think that's a decent compromise. Okay, now to the sky. Skies present a very particular problem. Let me move you. I want to get you just a little bit closer here. Skies present a very particular problem. Here it is. Universal rule of painting. Start with the dark and follow up with the light. You want to go from dark to light when you're putting paint down. You want to start with the dark colors and then graduate to the light colors. You don't want to go the other way around, from light to dark. But with skies, a sky like this, the sort of the target value is going to be down here near the horizon. The color that I want to paint has to be the right color here. So I'm going to paint from here up toward the top of the sky, which means I'm going to go from light to dark, violating the rule. Get it? Going from light to dark. So lately, very often what I've been doing is actually just from the outset, from the get-go, planning to paint the sky twice, if you will, or two passes. Start here because I want to nail this color and this value, then go up and then plan to come right back down so that the final touch of the sky is dark to light. Anyway, I hope that made some sense to you. It made a lot of sense to me. I tell you, I really appreciate me. I appreciate me spelling that out for me. And it sounds like a lot of work, but honestly, if you just kind of buckle down, resign yourself to that's what's going to happen, then it's not all that bad. So again, I'm aiming for the obviously the sunset color. I'm also finishing drawing this bull. His chin was a little long. There we go, that's better. I don't want this to get any of this to get too tight. I want this all, especially down here toward the horizon, I want it to be quite loose and soft edges, soft edges, even around, not too hard and sharp, even around this famous bull. So keep the edges a little bit soft around these buildings, etc., etc. So kind of like the glow layer again. Now, I think I can go a little bit lighter. Here's the reason it's difficult to start at the top of a sky and move down, because you don't know how, it's hard to predict your target, your final value. It's hard to predict how light this should be. You know what I mean? If you start here and you're getting lighter, but you don't know how quickly to get lighter. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. So for me, it's easiest just to paint the target first. There's my target color and value, and then move upward from there. Now I need to get some of my paraphernalia out of the way here. Hello. Oh, you coming up for something you're painting?
Yes.
Hello, Avi. I'm painting. Do you like my painting?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is my painting. What do you see? What are they playing? Do you know what they're playing? Do you know what? Whoa, don't pull on that. No, that'll fall down. You guys gotta see this, I know. Even if you're just on top.
I need a stapler. Where's the stapler? Okay.
That's my stool. Anyway, Avi, they are playing baseball here. This is a baseball game. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
You like baseball. He's never seen a baseball game, but he likes baseball a lot. He plays baseball downstairs all day long. Yeah.
Hey, Bobby, come on.
Okay, thanks for the visit, y'all.
Bye, Bika.
Bye.
Is this yours, Bika, this little man, or kids? This is kids. It's right here.
Yeah, it came out of my keepsake. The kids can have it.
Here, want to hold
Yeah.
it? Not anymore, huh? Okay.
Okay, now, bye. I'm thinking of what color do I want to go through. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take these brushes, go ahead and paint some. One of the potential weaknesses of this composition in the sky is that if I almost have sky going all the way across. Well, I'm sorry, I do have sky. Can you see it? Yeah. Which would be a mistake. Just put it down. You landscape painters, just memorize this. It's always a mistake to have a sky, an unbroken sky. Every rule can be broken, you understand. But generally speaking, you need to understand it's a mistake to have an unbroken sky going all the way across the painting. So that's why I am not going to I'm going to have a sky that is very much broken by clouds going across the top of the sky. Now I think I can just put those brushes down. And now so let's mix up some blue stuff. Let's mix up some bluish sky. My goal anytime I'm doing a sky, especially sky with clouds in it, is to avoid the temptation to start rendering, drawing, forcing the similitude of clouds. It's a discipline for me to paint loose and abstract instead of getting sucked into painting cloudy things that look like clouds. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. Painting realism is easy because you just have to copy what you're looking at. But if I do that, the sky won't match the rest of the painting. The whole rest of this painting is abstract realism, the brush strokes and so forth, take precedence over the image, and the sky needs to be painted in the same manner. So I need to paint the sky loosely, is in a word. It needs to be loose. No surprise there, I guess, right? Pick up some violet. And come in here and do some on the shady side of these clouds. Sun's going down to our left, right? So the sun's hitting the clouds from the left. So the violet, the purple, is a perfect, just a perfect color for the shady side of clouds at sundown. Why are they violet? Because the sun is very, very, very yellow-orange. Therefore, the shadow of the clouds is blue-purple. Got it? How's that look? Let me step back and see if I like the shape of those clouds. Yeah, I think that's all right. And you may notice that I'm allowing my brushes to cut into the these buildings quite a bit. That is very intentional. And I will, if I need to, I'll come back and clean up the edges a little bit. But most of the time, I don't need to do that because my brushes cutting into the tree, into the buildings, just simply gives the it creates an atmospheric perspective. Okay, now I'm going to come back with some brighter, lighter gold, yellow gold, for the light sides of these clouds. And again, try to make marks and try not to get too carried away with painting cloudy shapes. Just paint abstract shapes and hope that they look like clouds. I know that sounds so counterintuitive. It is counterintuitive. Don't paint fluffy things. Don't paint things that look like cloud shapes. Paint brush strokes that have lots of energy. And then, if you need to, on occasion, yeah, come back and just refine a little bit, like I did right there. Again, I find it hard. It's always a challenge for me to paint skies, clouds, because I feel like I'm very good at painting, so to speak, realistic clouds. Painting realistic clouds would be so easy. I'm such a student, I think, of skies that painting, so to speak, believable, realistic clouds is easy, but it wouldn't fit in with the rest of the painting. Is that making sense to you? I hope it is. I'm going to get a dry brush here and just blend in all of that just a little bit. I think I can actually, once again, go even whiter up here. Try not to blend too much. Try not to blend too much. Now, I do have one more trick up my sleeve. If you follow me doing skies, very often you'll see me use this trick more than once. It's the same trick that you employ whenever you do tree holes, sky holes. Should be called tree holes, but traditionally called sky holes. Part of the reason sky holes are effective, that they have the magic they have, is because everybody knows the blue sky is behind the tree, yet when the blue paint is on top of the dark paint, our brain gets a little flutter of confusion, which we find very satisfying. So, when it comes to a sky, I practice the same thing. I very often, the very last color that I put in a cloudy sky is the color that is furthest away. And you know what that, right? That's the blue. Everybody knows the blue clouds are in front of the white clouds, purple, yellow, white clouds are in front of the blue sky. Therefore, if you come back and do the blue sky late in the process, after, that is to say, after you painted the clouds, you get a little flutter of confusion, which actually creates aesthetic pleasure in the eyes of the viewer, the person who looks at our painting. So here I'm trying to mix up again the original. Yeah, that's nice. Plus, for some reason, just this coming in with a clean, little bit of clean. I've got almost perfect phthalo blue on my brushes here. And it just is such a sweet color. And again, the reason I'm doing it in the reverse of logical order. Logical order would say you paint the blue sky first, then you paint the clouds on top of it. That's logic. That is not what drives us as artists. What drives us is aesthetics, is visual, how things look. And doing it in this order, reverse order, from what you would expect, as I say, creates a little momentary flutter of confusion. And again, most people say, I don't like being confused. Oh, yes, you do. When it comes to visual art, you like being manipulated and you like being fooled, tricked. The rules for visual art are quite the opposite of the rest of life. So, coming in here, see, cutting into this like purple hazy stuff right here, all of a sudden just makes that purple look like the edge of the shadow side of a cloud, a dark cloud. I mean, it's not dark, but the shadow side of a cloud, and it's just so sweet. So there you go. That's a good lesson if you can absorb that. I painted some preliminary blue earlier, but then knew that I was going to come back as I am here and paint. The final layer is the blue. Again, counterintuitive because it's the furthest thing away, but the blue paint is closer, is on top of. Our eyes get a kick out of being fooled by what's on top of what. That's the brief statement of that. that principle. So my sky is gone, I think. I'll look at it with fresh eyes tomorrow, but I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm pretty happy with how that's looking. And of course, having made the sky very busy, see now I've chopped up this border, this line, I've chopped it up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, a boundary number of 14 up there in the sky. That's a very high number, but I think it works very well. Down this side, can you see? Almost. Let me. Down this side of the painting is boundary number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 14, 6. This side, 1, 2, 3 on this side. And the bottom, whoops, I have a problem at the bottom because at the moment, tilt you down there so you can see it. So at the moment, I have basically one color extending all the way across the bottom of the canvas, and that's a weakness. So in here somewhere, I need to cut, a railing or a set of stairs or something, or a break between people, so that I have not one color. That's what's we find uncomfortable. It's like a cheap, easy way out, cop out. And again, normally the big challenge in a landscape is to cop out along the top and have just blue sky going from one end to the other across the top of the canvas. We find that not satisfactory. Okay, that was good. That was a good fast sky there. I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe I can clean those brushes later. Let's move on to some other things. Oh, I know. So there's, and I've got too much to do here that I won't keep you engaged for this whole process, because again, I think you'll get bored. But let's do a little bit, and I think I can sit down for this. Let's tackle these baseball players. And by the way, yes, I did look up on my computer Durham Bulls uniforms, so that I have, and they're basically white. Their home team uniform color is white. But first, I'm going to come in and do, and they're short sleeves, long pants, white hats, of course. So just a touch of, and this guy is playing for the other team. So he will be wearing a blue shirt, blue jersey. And my real danger here with these baseball players on the field is to do too much. They are so close to perfect, just as they are. The big mistake would be to come in and say too much. So I'm going to keep them very abstract. But I think just a touch of flesh tone is not out of place. Okay, that's done. I'll clean those brushes really quickly and switch over to some white paint. And again, it would be a big mistake to slather a bunch of white paint, or to try to stick out my tongue and start trying to, and I'm not going to go pure white, of course, it's going to be warm white. It would be a huge mistake to start trying to paint, trousers, sleeves, so on and so forth. It's just almost a stroke, but they all have hats on, so I am in fact going to do a control grip, just a bit of a dot at the top of that head. That's almost too much right there. I say to myself. Oh, even that's almost too much. Okay, maybe it's okay. I'll know better when I stand back and look at them from a little distance. Just keep them abstract, just a dash. Yeah. I've got a right-hander pitching, so his back is to us, of course. Now, let me go back to the flesh tone again, and I'm going to try to keep my flesh tone neutral so you can't tell the race of the player. I don't want to mess with that. I want people to look at it and say, I can't tell if that's a black guy or a white guy or a Japanese guy or a Puerto Rican guy. But some of these, they've got a big ball glove in their hands, so not much is happening right this second. The pitcher is in set position, hasn't entered the windup yet, so I was not in the mood to do an action shot. Have the shortstop, parallel to the ground, straight up, the baseball flying for him. No, that is I don't feel like is not in keeping with the with the atmosphere, if you will, of the painting. Just realize I missed this guy's. And for those of you who don't know, the first baseman is a left-hander, so his glove is on his right hand. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about. That's because you don't follow baseball. It's all right. That's all right. That's all right. And then a little bit of blue on this guy, the opposing team here, wearing their away colors. And here's his third base coach, wearing blue uniform, first base coach. Okay, that's just about enough. So that means the guy that's batting, of course, is wearing blue as well. So my friends can make the white team the Durham Bulls or the blue team, because that's the Durham Bulls away color is blue. So if they want to pretend that's the blue color, they're welcome to do that. But since they're playing at home, I think it's their home color. All right, I think that's good enough. Again, this is one of those cases where less is more. I make quite a big deal about that in my book that I'm working on. Most of the time, less is less. That's why we call it less. But there are times when the old adage, less is more, is an appropriate statement. Anything else? Yeah, let me reverse paint this right fielder just for a second. He's got a little bit too much black stuff happening on it. Okay, then of course there's a couple guys here in the shade. So they're wearing white uniforms but standing in the shade. So the catcher and the third baseman. There we go. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm not quite finished, of course, and you were here for me to discover that I need to do something about this bottom boundary. Let's do a little bit though before I go. All of this dark green shadow area is all basically acrylic underpainting, and it's going to stay that way. Oh, another thing I haven't done is any baselines here. Come on, let's do that real quick. Let's just do, okay, so there's home plate and the batter's box, just a hint, and a first base line, and a first base line going on out, and there we go. Yeah, let's do a little bit of, so I like this shaded area just the way it is. I hardly have to do anything to it, but hardly anything and nothing are two different things. I do need to do a little bit to it, so I'm trying to mix up a color that matches what's already there. But of course, now I'm mixing up an opaque version of what's already there, just slightly lighter. For instance, do you see this this red stuff, which by the way I love, and it's there because of my very first strokes that I put down on the canvas. That's what's showing through, and I love it, but I don't love that much of it. Does that make sense? So I'm diminishing it, pushing it down just a little bit, but letting it continue to sparkle through. Now, and for instance, over here, I need to get this a little greener, a little lighter. See these drips? I like the drips, I really do, but it's a little bit too much of a good thing. Oops, oops, oops. Let me move you over there. Okay, see right here? So again, I'm trying to mix up a color that matches what's already there. That is pretty close. And then I come in and I tastefully wipe out as much as I want, but almost never do I wipe it out. Do you see how I'm leaving little bits of those drips showing? Why? Because it looks cool. It's hard to describe it any better than that. Why'd you do that, Bigka? My name is, for my grandchildren, is Bigka. Why'd you do that? And the answer is always because I think it looks cool. Or because I think it's going to look cool in the final product, if you catch my drift there. Same thing up here. There's a pencil line going right along here, and I don't think I like the pencil line quite as much as I would like it to be not a pencil line. So I just wiped out a pencil line there. Not completely though, you can still see little bits of it. That's the trick is, and again, pencil line here that I don't think, a bit of a drip there. Now that I've got this color mixed up, whoops, I'm sorry, I keep going off camera on you. I get carried away. Let me define these two figures by negative painting them, right? Gap between the legs there, and just skinny him up a little bit. Same thing here. I have just one leg there. His head's a little too big, so I'll cut off the top of his head. There we go. Isn't that fun? Now it's a little bit too neat and tidy, so just mess it up. There we go. Same thing here, that lovely red stuff, abstract coming through, but it's just a little bit too much of a good thing, so I want to diminish it just a little bit. It is, in fact, these very passages, in my opinion, my technique, what is, if you will, superior about my technique is the midtones. In the light areas, I paint like a traditional oil painter. In the dark areas, kind of like a traditional oil painter. But it's in these mid-tone passages where my technique, I think, shines and outshines, in my opinion, the traditional approach to painting, because all of this is so gorgeous. It's so subtle, and our eyes just love subtlety. Our eyes are just going pitter patter, seeing the subtle underplay, paintings, layers come through. Again, red down here, purple, violet down here. I'd be crazy to cover it up completely, but I want to cover it up just enough so that it feels like a baseball field. So, you know, so it reads like a baseball field, but it's got all these delightful, have I said delightful enough times? In my opinion, all these delightful little subtle interplays of, subtle interplays. You got it. I'm making up my own language, making up my own words. I have now, again, and I'm going to let you go here, the stands over here. I'll get started on it to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start anyway by just doing faces, light colored faces and light colored clothing. And try not to make them too big. Too big would be the biggest mistake, and too regular. So for instance, there we go. And then if I come back, follow up on that with a slightly lighter and bluer shade of that. Oh, too much blue. Just picked up too much blue. Well, let's use it. And come in here and give scattered people here and there this color of clothing. Then I'll probably do one or two, not many. Most of the people are going to be wearing blue, white, and gray, and every once in a while a red shirt. This is very similar to I have learned over the years how to paint a parking lot full of cars, or a street full of parked or driven cars, a street full, a whole crowd of cars. Listen to this if you don't know this. All the cars are various shades of gray, from white to dark gray, and about 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 20 cars is red. Same thing here with a crowd full of people in the stands. It is all the people are wearing various shades of gray, and 1 out of 10 or 20 is wearing red. Now, if this were an NC State game, then there'd be a lot of red, but it is not. It's a Durham Bulls, so it's actually convenient that there's a lot of blue. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. Let me zoom you in so you can see that just a little bit better. So I'll come in, but I won't try to come in and start doing at this distance that it all melds together. And I'm not going to come in and try to do a whole bunch of different colors of clothing. That would be entirely inappropriate. A little detail while I'm doing stuff here. I just realized, just for fun, there's a part of the outfield fence that is blue. This right here. So it gives me an excuse to add just a little color to the painting. And of course, it makes it just a little bit more realistic, because in reality, that patch is blue. All the rest is black or very dark. Oh, foo, you just missed that, didn't you? Sorry, I was painting right there. I'm going to stop there because I keep forgetting to move the camera. Anyway, you certainly are seeing enough of the painting done. I have to do something down here to break up. I just happen to have this really nice blue on here. I have to do something to break up this line along the bottom. So let's try something like this. I don't know if it's a series of empty seats, which wouldn't look good for ticket sales, or if it's a stairs. There aren't. Yeah, I could fit some stairs in there. Good enough. I'll do something like that. Okay. You're watching me, of course, thinking out loud. Maybe it doesn't even need to be defined. Maybe I can just leave it just like that, and it will accomplish what I want, which is a broken color. Whew! It's been a long day. I'm just about done. I have to finish the scoreboard, finish the crowds, and theoretically I'm done. Hope that was instructive and fun. I hope to be back on the bandwagon here real soon and having daily art adventures almost every day. I'm still working. By the way, today, Yahoo Today ordered a new microphone. Woohoo! Sennheiser, $500 from B&H Photo in New York City, so I can wear good quality microphone. I've been wanting that for over a year and a half, so I'm excited about that. Finally felt like I could afford in the budget to do that, so that's happy news for all you listeners. Okay, thanks for watching again. I hope you'll be back tomorrow.